Hi everyone, thanks for joining in. I'm excited to have Philippa, Philippa Clark joining us today. For those who don't know, Philippa lives just outside the beautiful town and country Victoria. She also lives in she also lives in many worlds of her own imagination and stockpiles stories beside her laptop, which I can see you've got.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of things there going on. She writes from the heart about love, dreams, secrets, discovery, the sea, the world as she knows it or wishes it could be. She loves happy endings, heart pounding suspense, and characters who stay with you long after the final page. With a passion for music, the ocean, nature, reading, and writing, she is often found in the vegetable garden pondering a new story. So,
True.
thanks so much for joining us. I also want to say as well, you have been our author for the day as well. So, it's
Ah,
really great to have you back again.
thank you.
Just wondering if you want to start off by telling everyone a little bit more about your books, because you have
Absolutely, I'd
a
love
couple
to.
of different genres, don't you?
I
Mm.
do. But at the end of the day, everything is pretty much based on a mystery.
Mm.
So I do love my mysteries. There's no doubt about that. Um, and I write historical as well as contemporary stories. I love dual timelines. So
Mm.
a lot of my books go back and forward in history a little bit. And most recently, I've written the first three books in the Cozy Mystery series set in Australia.
Mm. Nice. And have you got some of your books at the back there that you can show us the covers and yeah,
There's a few there.
yeah, you've got.
That's the Station Master's Cottage, which was my very first release.
Mm.
And that then, pretty much from that book, came all of these, one way or another. So the ones down here are all from one series. And I then moved to a new mystery series and then a third one. And they've got characters from the first series.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we said like you like writing about the sea and that. What's the attraction? And do you live by the sea at the moment?
Oh, I wish. I just love the ocean. I find it
Mm.
very soothing and inspiring. And as a child, I lived near the sea most of the time, and that sort of was my happy place. And I'm very drawn to it. And having my feet in sand and the waves over my ankles is
Mm.
heaven to me.
Mm.
But no, I live in the mountains, so Maston Ranges,
Oh
not
yes, yeah.
not huge mountains,
Yeah. No, no,
but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, nice. And have you always wanted to be a writer?
yeah, yeah. When I went to school, I was very bored because I already knew how to read and write,
Yeah.
and I was writing stories from about the age of 5. So it's been something that's been with me forever.
And how hard or easy was it to get that first book published for you?
Well, it was a 15-year in the making book. Um, I had the idea many, many years ago of a few ideas that came together sort of at the same time.
Mm.
We live close to a station master's cottage, and I always wondered what it would have seen because it's quite an old building.
Yeah, that would be really interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So that was part of it. And even though when it's not that particular one is not near the ocean,
Mm.
it's next to me.
Yeah.
And I always imagined it in a different setting. And from there I built a few characters just came to me and there's music involved as well. I
Okay.
find
Mm.
music very inspiring. So Ice House, which
Mm. Oh yes, yeah.
the iconic
Yeah, I
Australian
loved Dice.
band.
Yeah, I loved Dice House when I was growing
Yeah,
up.
well,
Yeah.
two of their songs were totally behind this, one being Man of Colours,
Mm.
um, I always think of, the noise upstairs in the attic, and that became Thomas, who's the older character in this book and several books. And the other one was Till the River Where the River Meets the Sea, which was a story. It's a song basically about someone or people being separated, and a feeling of betrayal. And all the different components came together to create the book. But it was originally a screenplay. I used to write screenplays. So but I shelved it for a long time, and then a few years ago I got it out, wrote it, and I didn't want to go down the traditional path, so I found an editor and a wonderful cover designer, and went the indie path.
Yeah, no, that's a good story about your publishing journey. We've got a few people watching and got some questions coming through, which is great. Sharon says, what genre do you like to read? And wondering if maybe you've got any recommendations for us. We always love recommendations.
Yeah, absolutely. I love reading anything with a good mystery. That's just who I've probably always read a lot of mysteries, and I love it if there's a love story. I love romance, but I love an old-fashioned love story where there's so many obstacles to overcome and so forth. But I do love my dual timeline books. So as a recommendation, as an author, I love Michelle Montebello.
Okay.
Who's another Aussie author. She wrote a book called The Quarantine Station a few years ago, and it's one of my top 10 books of all time. It's a beautiful, beautiful dual timeline story. It's got a bit of a mystery, but it's also got a lot of history, and there's some love in there as well. And I love Annie Seaton. Annie's actually somewhere around on my desk here. Moved everything on my desk here to make myself finish writing my last book, which I was getting a bit not tired of the book, but I was tired myself. I bought this. Osprey Reed.
It's only just recently out, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I haven't started reading it yet because I've had to finish my book, but that's my reward. So they're two authors I would highly recommend.
Yeah, no, that's some good recommendations. Thank you.
That's all right.
Belinda said she was lucky enough to be gifted some of your cozy series.
Oh.
And she really enjoyed them. She really enjoyed Charlotte's Adventures, and she wonders, is Kingfisher Falls based on a real place?
Yes, it is. Now, just to fill in, I haven't got any of the Kingfisher books behind me. They are now with an English publisher. So I'm waiting on copies of those. I've completely depleted my original indie ones. Kingfisher Falls is based on several towns in the Macedon Ranges. I know which one it is, but I like people who know the area to make their own judgment on that.
Yeah. And do people say to you where they think it is? Have you had suggestions?
Yeah. I'm really fortunate. I've got a lot of local readers, and I get messages saying, okay, I'm sure it's Kyneton, or it's Macedon, or it's Dalesford, or it's Gisborne. And in reality, it's a mix of all of them.
Yeah. And when writing a series, how do you keep things fresh for both yourself and your readers?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not a plotter, so I'm at the whim of the characters to a large degree. I think I always look for threads that I haven't closed off, and I pick away at them, like with a crochet hook in my head, until I have something that makes me excited about what I'm writing.
Yeah.
And there tends to be an overarching theme in my series. There's always something that the main characters have got to solve for themselves. So it can take a few books sometimes.
Yeah.
But meantime, they're busy doing all the other stuff.
Yeah. And you said you're not a plotter. Can you tell us what comes first for you? Is it the characters or the location or the plot?
Yeah, I think usually there'll be a character that gets in my head a little bit, and then I'll think, well, why you there? What is it you want? And I sometimes just get a scene in my head. I'm very visual, the way I see my books, and when I'm writing, it's very visual. That's why I was a screenwriter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got five screenplays that I'm progressively turning into books. 3 of them are now, and they are based on that need of mine, I suppose. I've got a scene and I have to get it out, and then it just develops from there.
So, have any of the screenwriting that you've done, have they actually become like on the screen?
Not quite. We're close.
Yeah.
We've been close a couple of times. I've had one story optioned.
Okay.
But that's one that at the moment I'm hoping maybe I'll write in the next 2 years. I've not changed it. But that was optioned for a while, but there was no money in Australia at the time.
Good luck.
And yes, someone else in the US was looking at one of mine, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Or hopefully it works out well, and good luck. Belinda wonders how you choose your characters' names.
Yeah, I have to admit, lately I'm getting a bit, I'm running out of characters, so I keep asking my readers. Right. Some characters actually just come with a name, but I do love a name to mean something that fits that character. So sometimes I will just research the meaning. If you've got a character who's a very strong character, or perhaps has some issues with not dealing with something in life, I'll try and find a name that really suits that character. So it's a combination of research to fit the character, and just sometimes they really tell me who they are. And unfortunately, I'm now finding I'm doubling up. I've got some of my minor characters I'm finding a few years on in a different book as well, or the name anyway.
And Sharon wonders if you're working on your next book at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment I'm working on a short story, 15 to 20,000, so it's a short novel, I guess, which is part of my Daphne Jones cozy series.
Yeah.
That's being written for an anthology that's coming out in June, which is, let me think what it's called. Actually, I've written it down because it's a long name. It's Mysteries, Midsummer Sun, and Murders, and there's 22 authors.
Oh, wow.
So it's huge, and they're cozy authors from all over the world.
Okay.
And I'm very excited to have a Daphne story in there, which will eventually become the prequel to the series.
Okay, amazing.
So it's set back in Riversend, where Station Master's cottage, and it's fun. So that's my current one. Then I'm going to change tactic. I've got a fantasy trilogy I want to write. Just because.
Just to be a bit different. Yeah, sounds very interesting. Lots on the go.
Yeah.
So, if you could be a character from any of your books for a day, who would you choose and why?
Oh, good question. Ooh. I think I would like to be Christy from the Station Master's cottage.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm fascinated by her. But having said that, I really love Charlotte Dean and the Charlotte Dean Mysteries.
Yeah.
She's a little bit troubled and a little bit off the wall.
And what do you find for you the most difficult part of your writing process?
Staying focused sometimes.
Yeah.
And particularly getting halfway through a book, and I'll suddenly start to have massive self-doubt, which is very common with authors.
Yeah, lots of authors say that to me,
Yeah. And then my focus will stray a little bit, and I see the next shiny thing, and magpie, shiny. That's probably the hardest thing for me.
Yeah. So, do you have any writing rituals?
Just sit down and work. Now I'm writing full time. I've actually, that's been since July. And I am actually pretty disciplined. So I will be at my computer, and by 8 in the morning, I want to be writing words. And then I work on things like marketing and answering emails and finding covers and all of that sort of thing. That's in the afternoon, but I try to do a minimum of 2,000 words every writing day.
Yeah. So a favourite writing place?
Right where I am now.
Okay.
For a long time, I was sharing an office with my husband, which is fine, but it was a very small room and not a lot of room, and he took over quite a lot of it. So being a boy, everything, a bit spaced out. So my oldest son moved out of home earlier in the year, bought his own house, and I've ended up snaffling a spare bedroom.
Oh, okay, you're lucky.
Yeah. So it's, if you could see the rest of the room, you'd go, "Ooh, it doesn't look too good because there's boxes piled up." But I'm waiting for a bookcase and all of those cool things that will make it really my writing space. But I've got a beautiful window and a bird bath, and it's just lovely. I can procrastinate as much as I want.
A nice view outside.
Yep.
Nice. And what did you do before you were a full-time writer?
I've been a person of many trades, I suppose, over the years. But for the last 15 years, I've worked in our family business. We have a pet supplies store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is, it's really awesome. It's local, so it's five minutes away, and I pretty much ran that for 10 years while my husband ran our second store. Okay. And he's now up here permanently. We closed the other store, just one store. So I did all the marketing and looked after our customers, and that was a big deal for me.
So are you a big animal lover?
Yes.
And do you have animals featuring a lot in your books?
Not enough. That's something I do want to improve, but
because I can see on the cover, I've
got the new cover there with beautiful golden retriever Randall on it. So Randall's in 6 books, and he is in the new book, the new story I'm writing. And in the Charlotte Dean stories, there's 2 gorgeous cats.
Oh, nice.
One's who's a bit naughty. So that's good.
Aren't all cats a little bit naughty?
Yeah.
And do you have a favourite writing snack or drink?
Water all day. I am really, really good. I have 2 coffees in the morning. If I have too many more, I'm too scary. It's more a case of staying hydrated. But if I'm writing in the evening, I will have an alcoholic beverage. I don't mind drinking a little bit when I'm writing, because I do the editing when I'm not.
Okay. And anything you do special to celebrate when you finish a book?
Well, first I'll stare there in absolute shock because I finally got there. It's got probably less over the last, because I've just released my 20th book.
Yeah.
In just under 5 years. So it's not that I'm not excited and thrilled. I am, but I'm very practical, and I want to get that edited, and I want to see it out in the world and so forth. But we will usually have a bottle of champagne at home.
Okay, nice.
So that's really good.
And when you're writing, do you like to share what you're writing as you go along, or do you wait till the end?
I'm happy to share. I never know how much to share, though. Sometimes I'll put snippets of it up on Facebook.
Okay.
And I've recently got onto TikTok.
How's that going?
That's challenging. It's early days, but I want to start reading like little snippets as I'm going because I think that's quite fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for talking to me. It's been great chatting to you. Just
You
wondering if
too.
you want to let people know watching how they can keep in touch with you.
Absolutely. And I love talking to any one of our books. I've got a website, which is pretty much just www.phillipaclark.com, easy as. I've got my Facebook page. I've got an author Facebook page. I'm not sure which one comes up on here, but it's Phillipa Nefri Clark. And that's got a reader group as part of it, which I would love to have more people involved. It would be so cool. And yeah, just all my contact details are from there. So I'm happy to answer emails or talk to anybody. I'm pretty friendly.
Well, thanks so much, and thanks for everyone who joined in and asked some questions. Been great talking to you, and great to have you back again. Hope I have a chance to talk to you again.
Thank you, Jackie. It's
Thanks.
been absolutely wonderful, and it's such a fantastic group you have. So
Yeah, no,
thank you,
thanks.
and thank you, everyone.
Thank
You're
you.
gorgeous.
Bye, everyone.